Power Rangers is a franchise that I loved as a kid but haven't really followed into adulthood, but it is definitely one of the reasons I got a taste for kaiju movies. Although I should probably check in on the modern comics at some point because this design, this appeals to me. Now, I was an incredibly lucky kid, and I had basically every Mighty Morphin Zord toy up to the Ninja Zords of Season 3. But for reasons I cannot explain, the only one I still have is one of my least favourite. Serpentera from 1995. So let's take a look at this ludicrous thing. Serpentera was Lord Zedd's personal Zord and was multiple Godzillas tall. Unless you're talking about anime Godzilla, but it's still taller than that. And given that the Power Rangers Zords tend to be smaller than even the shortest Godzillas, that meant that the scale difference was pretty wild. When Serpentera showed up, it was serious. Also, they couldn't have it show up much because there wasn't much stock footage of it from Dairanger for them to use, but getting into his life as Daijinryu from Japan is beyond the scope of this toy review, and also I'd have to learn about it myself since I don't really know much about the Japanese end of these things. When Bandai decided to make a toy out of it, they decided to scale it down significantly to be merely huge. Also, I'm aware that it is somewhat rattly and creaky, but I'm not apologising for that. The toy is 30 years old. Take it up with the concept of entropy. He looks pretty spot on to his on-screen appearance, right down to the little touches like the tiny red rectangles here. And I'm a big fan of his all-over scale pattern. A lot of the work here is done by foil stickers, sure, but these things are tough as anything. This is the state it's in after being played with by me and a stint with my much younger brothers, for reference. The one place it does deviate from the on-screen version is in the antlers, which are rendered here as flat rubbery paddles with the original shape embossed upon them, presumably so kids don't poke their eyes out on them. Cowards. Articulation is pretty good for this kind of toy, with each leg having 3 points of articulation, arms being the same but with grabby hands and extra shoulder movement, tail spinniness, head, neck and mouth joints. And since he's huge, all bar the tail and the mouth need to be ratcheted, so he's extra noisy. Now granted, you can only really get him into a couple of poses since the joints don't really allow for much dynamism, but then again, this toy line, and I suppose Sentai toy lines in general, are not really known for posing ability. Having functional knees puts him ahead of a lot of the Power Rangers line. However, other Power Rangers Zords could do all manner of fun extra things like combine into Megazords, something this one couldn't do since it belonged to a baddie and was way too big to do anything like that in the show. So what could this one do? Well, it had a flight mode. So I do like that he can do this, slimming down into a more conventional East Asian dragon form, but it's not really that much of a change, and compared with the wild level of interconnected play the other Zord figures could do, this is just kind of underwhelming. It's just supposed to be big and fight your other Power Rangers toys, which it is and it does, but that's basically all it has. And in a line where the other toys did more interesting things, it's no wonder that this one didn't resonate with me in the same way. No combining, no accessories, he just is what he is. And on some level, that's cool. There's no accessories to lose and you don't feel like you're missing out because you weren't fortunate enough to have all the other toys. Something that was kind of an issue with the other big toys in the line, like Tor and Titanus. And honestly, it was neat that they made a toy of him at all, considering he has the Unicron, you can never really make a toy of him that's big enough issue. But he is unavoidably just a big brick of plastic. So unless you have a particular fondness for Serpentera himself, I can't really say he's that great. However, it does fit oddly well on your lap so that you can sit there stroking it like a very angular cat, which I'm sure is a feature that at least one of you is looking for.